Welcome, folks, to another episode of KPHRED California Pulse. I'm Fred McMurray, and I'm back again with our generational change mayor, Mayor Kassie D of Grover Beach, California. Today, we're going to be talking about Grover Beach's wastewater issues and how they intersect with Prop 218 and kind of what Grover's doing about it based on, I think it's a I think there's a budget shortfall for the next year if something's not done about, but Mayor Deal, correct me about it. Just as for those who have no clue what Prop 218 was, Prop 218 was passed in 1996 by California voters, and the short version of it, it's the Right to Vote on Taxes Act, and it limited the ability of local governments to increase property-related taxes, assessments, or fees like water or sewer rates. Did I get it right reasonably?
Pretty much, exactly. Yeah. So basically, we live in a representative democracy, right? So the voters vote on representatives, and that's your city council. And then, in order for our city council to approve tax increases or rate increases, we need to either, usually for taxes like sales tax, it goes to the voters, but something like a rate increase, it goes into what's called a Prop 218 noticing and a process. And then you have public hearings, and that's what I'm here to talk about today.
Okay. So, um, I guess my next question is um, tell us where we're at now, or what's going on now that is pushing this button. So, what's the cause of this new stuff that the city council is going to do, or
So
potentially?
yeah, we have a lot of information. So basically, bottom line, our city has these services, and which includes your sewer, right? So we have wastewater and sewer lines that go through our city. So we have quite a few miles of sewer lines. And basically, what we're doing right now is, in the past, council has bundled water and wastewater rates. If there's doing any increases, you get it on your bill, you get it every 2 months. And that's when they would want to do a rate increase, they would do it bundled together. But moving forward, we're doing it separate. So right now, today, I'm talking about these sewer rates and the sewer rate increase that is being pushed through this Prop 218 process. So basically, our lines are 60 years old.
Younger than me.
I would say, it's quite out there, right? So back in, and I'm going to read some notes here because we have some incredible staff that put together some amazing presentations that were already presented to our city council. And I can send you all these links so that other folks can take a look at these presentations because it's very informative. And I'm going to paraphrase here for sake of time. But basically, in 1965, our sewer lines serviced 3,600 people. That's 3,600. Well, 60 years later, we now have almost 13,000 people in our community. So what's being proposed to the council is a rate increase. And I can go a little bit more into that, but basically, right now, I just wanted to talk about the pipes a little bit more. We have a lot of existing needs, and those existing needs cost a lot of money. And we're looking at a price tag for capital improvement projects of about $15 million over the next few years. That's the deficit that we're in currently. And so in order to move forward with this process, the council is looking at a rate increase. So that's where we're at right now.
All right. So this is about wastewater, right?
Correct. Wastewater, sewer rates, and those two words can be or those two phrases, I guess, could be interchangeable. Whether we're talking about sewer rates or wastewater rates, it's the same thing.
So couldn't we just have people like put their wastewater in their backyard, like create a pool in the backyard and just put it there until it evaporates? Never mind. Sorry.
I
You thought I was serious there for it, didn't you?
I know. I was like, that's an interesting concept. I would advise against that.
I mean, with all the hills here, I wouldn't want to live downslope with somebody doing that. But okay, so
No.
back from the levity, continue on.
Yeah, so we have all these pipes. We use gravity to, and we do have a few lift stations, but basically our pipes are through gravity. And like I said, our pipes are rather small and we need to make them bigger so that there's enough flow going through those pipes. So what the council is looking at is our existing needs. So right now we have a price. I'm talking about prices for our
Mhm.
existing needs is about $3.9 million. This is not including any new development, not including anything new coming online. And in fact, at our last meeting, I spoke with Director Greg Ray, and I said, I asked the question, if there was no development happening whatsoever, would we still be having this conversation? And he said, absolutely, our pipes are 60 years old. So this is just considered investing in our future, right? So the city provides a service. Like you said, I don't think anybody wants to be putting their wastewater back in the backyard. We have to provide this service for our community. And that includes these wastewater lines that need to be maintenanced and replaced. And there's a whole domino effect that I can get into regarding our K-14 streets, so on and so forth. So that's basically where we're at now.
All right. So one comment of I'm betting there are some residents that wouldn't mind putting their wastewater in somebody else's backyard because there's some definite sniping from what I read on Nextdoor. But besides that one, so my question is because there's always somebody out there that says, well, if it was good enough for me, it was good enough for my kids or my so on and so forth. So my question is, what happens? What can people expect if you don't do this?
So it's possible if we don't do this, if we don't maintain and replace these pipes, there's no, and again, Greg Ray explains this so perfectly, how the pipe, you need a certain amount of space in the pipes, right? And I'm using very layman's terms because I am not an engineer. So I'm a mayor.
It's called
So
it's called the Bernoulli principle, and yeah.
if anybody knew what the word was, I knew it'd be you. I knew you would know exactly what it was. That's why I come to this show.
I remember having to calculate that back in college way too often in the physics courses. So I think it's kind of funny that it took me all these years to actually find something useful to say about it. So continue
You
on.
finally get to talk about it in real life. This is amazing. Great job. But yeah, so basically, these pipes, there's a certain specific space that you need to have. And if you don't, well, things can start to come up. And by things, I mean your wastewater will start to come up in the streets. It could start coming up in our houses.
Mm.
And I don't think anybody really wants that. So when we're moving forward, this is a discussion that the council is going to have to really deliberate because the council is looking at a 17.8% increase each year for the next 5 years. So when you look at your wastewater rate on your water bill, it's your water bill, it's all connected, but right now we're just talking about wastewater. When you look at that item, the average household, it would be increasing is about $2.23 or 28 cents, excuse me.
Is
And
that
so
per year or total?
that is per month. So when you get your bill every other month, you're going to see about a $5 increase. It's $4.56 every 2 months. And then again, it'll raise 17.8% the next year. Usually we start on our fiscal year, which is July 1st. So if we go through this process and it passes, you would see a 17.8% increase each year, which I know sounds like a lot, but when you look at it, when you look at the actual number, it's around $2 and some change a month increase to fix the existing needs that are in our community right now.
Okay. So that all, when I think about 17.85% per year over 5 years, I'm coming up with about a 90% increase. And that does sound scary. I understand that nobody wants the crap hitting the fan. Um, I
That's true.
I'd use a different phrase, and I really want to, but I also want to keep the non-adult language label on this. So I'll just say that sounds like a real crap storm. So why are people against it?
I think any increase is really scary right now. I'm also a small business owner. I know how increases impact our businesses, they impact our residents, they impact our properties. So I understand that it's a difficult discussion to have, even if it's $1, if it's 1 cent, it's a tough discussion to come forward with. I think when you look at the facts and you look at our presentations that we had from our director Greg Ray and our administrative services director Nick Zamet, I think that they did a great job telling just being completely transparent, saying, hey, here are the facts, here's what we're looking at, here's what we need to do moving forward. So looking at that, who might be against it? We have to look further into the future. The pipes are 60 years old. And our council has to make this discussion. And we're going to have a lot of people coming forward, talking about this, I'm sure, whether they're in support of it or against it. The 218 process, what goes along with that is that we will be noticing the ratepayers 45 days in advance. So looking forward, the public hearing will be on June 9th. And in the meantime, you will be getting notices from our city that state the 218, the Prop 218 notice saying, hi, it's the city. Here's what we are proposing to you. And here are ways that you can get more informed. So we are planning on having 2 workshops to discuss this, or 2 forums rather, not workshops, they're forums to explain everything that I'm explaining right now. You can come out, ask specific questions. Well, what does my bill look like if it's like this? What does a pipe look like? You know, there's a lot of things that we don't even know. These are things that are under the ground. We don't even see it. Why is it important that we do this now, et cetera, et cetera? We're going to have 2 forums where you can have that. There's also plenty of other engagement options. We have coffees with council. We have our city council meetings, all that stuff. But in addition to that, you will also be getting what's called a ballot. And I know that's confusing because it's not a vote. You won't be voting on this. It's for the council to decide on this increase. But you will be getting a ballot, and it's a petition ballot saying, no, I don't want this increase, or yes, it's okay, go ahead. And on June 9th, what we will be doing is counting any petitions that have come through, doing the public forum, listening to the community, hearing what each side says, and then we will decide from there.
Okay, so the curious part of me is if we've had these pipes in there for 60 years, and you said they're 8-inch pipes, what size pipes is being recommended, and how long will they last before we run into this potential crap storm again? God, I'm doing this.
It's a good phrase for this for this whole conversation. It's what we're talking about. So so what's being proposed, or what would happen, is we would go from 8-inch pipes to 10-inch pipes. And Director Ray said something along the lines of, well, why don't you make it 12-inch pipes, 18-inch pipes, 2-foot pipes? Make them bigger. We're gonna, maybe we might keep growing. Why wouldn't you just do it now? But again, it's that thing you said earlier, that you need the right amount of space in between the pipes to have the correct flow. If you have too much space, flow doesn't work. If you have no space, backs up into people's houses, into the streets. And
you don't want to be known as a mayor that caused a crap storm. No,
I don't really want to be known as that. But again, if our community is not ready for this change, then or for this increase, then it's a conversation that we have to be moving forward. But again, we will be discussing it at the council meeting, looking at all different factors, all different people involved and affected by this change, and seeing how we can move together collectively as a community. So as far as how long they will last, that's a really good question. I think many factors go into this. How fast is our city growing? I don't know, how fast is it going down? I mean, we have seen our city lose a little bit of population. So is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Who knows what the future holds? And so I think at this place in time, this is why we were able to have the 60-year, timeline that we have to now
Mhm.
work on this. And I will say that some of our sewer lines have been replaced. And those are ones that are basically, when we look at our K-14 projects, those are our residential redoing the property. Back in 2014, our voters voted to pass K-14, which means that our residential streets are being redone, which is great. We used to be known for our potholes. Now we're not. So,
Sure.
so that's a really good sign. We have over 73% of our streets are completed, but right now we're on a hold because we don't want to lay streets down, then rip them up to do the sewer, and then put it back down. So that's another reason why there's this urgency to talk about this and have this discussion of a rate increase. Because we do have some streets that are on hold because there's really big maintenance needs that need to be addressed
All right.
underneath.
So as I've trolled nextdoor.com because of course everybody is kind of local. The phrase I always see when when talking about any type of tax increase, price increase, whatever, an increase that's going to cost people out their wallet. The phrase that I always get is, what about those on a fixed income? Is there any things in planning that would make sure that somebody who's on a fixed income wouldn't have to make the choice of feeding their cat or paying their water?
Right. And I think that's a huge conversation that we can have on that June 9th meeting. However, right now we do have a program in place with the city where we do for individuals who are on the PG&E care program. I think ours is called CAP, theirs is called CARE. The PG&E care program, they're already vetted into that low income. PG&E has done their due diligence of making sure that they're low income, et cetera, et cetera. And so if they qualify for that program, they can qualify for our discount program through the city. I believe it only goes towards water though, but again, it's on the same bill. So you still see, if you don't know about this, then you should really look into it. If you're already on the PG&E assistance program, you also qualify for the Grover Beach water assistance program.
All right, just since I'm real anal about when somebody mentions something that's a good program like that, how do people get on that program? Where do they go? Is there a website, or do they have to, uh, hit somebody with a dead fish in a dark alley to get the right name, kidnap?
Maybe not that far. Maybe
Okay.
not go that far, but but what you could do is you could always ask our staff at City Hall. If you're saying I'm struggling, whether you're low income, things have changed, whatever might be happening in your life. We know that there's a lot of people who
Yeah.
sometimes just can't make it, right? So you can go to City Hall and ask about the assistance program with the water bill. And what they will do is give you the information on how to apply for, I think you have to apply for the PG&E program first, and then you can apply for this program.
Okay, so you said something that's really scary. You have to go down to City Hall. So does this mean you should take like a pitchfork and a torch or blunt blunt objects with you? Is there anything? Again, I'm from the south side of Chicago, so to me these are
I know.
normal. These are just normal accoutrements of politics. But California, you guys are kind of more laid back and, well, I won't go into other
I
phrases.
was just gonna say that, I was just gonna say, I believe in the power of a smile and the power of kindness. And if you go down there and say, you know what, I really need some help with a smile, then I think somebody will help you. And we have great administrative staff that'll answer any of those questions. You can also email us or call us. There's other options to get in contact with us, and we can assist you in any way that you need. And before going on to Nextdoor, Facebook, social media sites, whatever that might be, we always encourage folks to email your council members, email your mayor, email your people. If you don't have email, call us, give us a call. Our phone numbers, if you don't have a phone, meet us down at City Hall. We're here to serve you. We are here to serve you.
All right. So the last thing, actually not the last thing, before I ask you my last question, anything that we've missed on what's going on?
With this topic, there's lots of stuff going on in Grover Beach, but
Yeah, but we'll do that on the next show. So that's fine. Because there's people out there that want updates on the building and all that stuff, but that'll be next show. So
of course. Yes.
Yeah. Anything final on this topic?
Just that, your council is here to serve our community, and we're here to give the most information. One of our priorities of the city council this year was community engagement and communicating with the residents. So that's our main goal. That's why we're doing 2 forums, which I'll send you those dates, 2 forums regarding this. And then in addition to that, I have office hours, coffee with council. There's many ways to contact your local government. So we're here to listen and hear you out and answer any questions that anybody might have. And I forgot, there is on our website, there's a wastewater frequently asked questions page. That is a huge, huge resource for our folks. If you don't have a computer, don't have anything, you want to give me a call, I'll read you all the answers that are on this frequently asked question page, because it's great information to have, knowing what's in place, knowing why is the council even considering this. It's for maintenance. It's for much needed maintenance.
Sometimes you gotta do maintenance and engineering to make sure you don't have a crap storm. Last time I get to use that phrase. So the hardest question I think I have for you is, what is the website URL to the Grover Beach?
So it is groverbeach.org. And nope, it's not. It is grover.org. Sorry about that. It's grover.org.
Told you it was a hard question.
I know it is a hard question, because I think our emails are groverbeach.org. And so no, it's grover.org. And if you scroll down, it's right there, most popular resources. It's the wastewater parentheses sewer rates. And you click on that, and then there's frequently asked questions, but also there's a spot where you can give us feedback, because that's what we were asking for before this last meeting, is that we want to hear more feedback. We want to hear your voice and see what the community wants out of this 218 process. So please go to that website, go to that page, and give us your feedback. It's open. You just have to put your email in it so that we can make sure there's no bots or anything going through it. So, yeah.
I'm assuming you'd prefer that people don't use 4-letter words in the feedback that they give.
It's freedom of speech. You can say whatever you would like.
I get it, but and I know I've been guilty at this from time to time, but yeah, email always helps if you're not flaming somebody like a dragon would. So it's all good with that.
The constructive feedback is a little bit more palatable, palatable.
and I will say it is funny, because your email addresses are groverbeach.org, but the website is grover.org. So it's all good. All right, Mayor.
I'm only human.
So okay. Well, these days you could be AI, but who knows?
I know. That's another conversation that we have to have coming up here soon.
All right, we'll have that, because I've got a whole lot of my own thoughts after a lot of research and arguing with certain AIs and things like that. Which also says at times I like to argue, and that's a bad thing.
You should consider local government.
Yeah, no, I'm known as blunt force trauma. No, I'm happy sitting on this side of the interview, Mike. I like to ask the questions rather than answer them. Most people work that way too. All right. Unless you've got anything else, any final thoughts?
That's it. Just thank you so much for having me on here and letting me speak into this. It's a lot of really big information that needs to get out to our community. So I that's what I'm here for. That's my job.
Well, we're happy to help. We KFRED.com is in Grover Beach, so we're happy to get the word out. I want to thank our watchers and listeners with this second interview with Mayor Kassie D of Grover Beach, California. And we'll be back soon with more KFRED California Pulse. Bye all.